thanks for joining us for this edition of Community Crossroads. I'm Chris Jacobs. When we think of art, the first thought that comes to mind may be drawing, painting, or maybe even clay sculpture, but our next guest works with none of those mediums and combines a delicate material with a lot of heat. Joining me to discuss his method is Doc Roberts, a.k.a. the Flame Worker. Sir, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
What led you to being a glass blower? I guess, is that the correct terminology?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a form of a glass blower. There's many different aspects of glass blowing. There's flame working, which is what I do, or lamp working. There's also fusing. There's actually the furnace worker, where you always see the guy dipping the metal into the pot. And he's bringing out this great big old gather of glass. I'm a glass blower, but most of it's just flame working that I do.
Now, how did you get into it? I remember you telling me the story of you wanted to be, you thought you could create it, or you thought it might be easy.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Here's how it took place. Probably about a little over 10 years ago, my wife, she came to me and she asked me, said, hey, my sister got me this Pandora bracelet. And I was like, okay. Well, she wanted a bead for it. I said, all right, I can do that. So I kind of went down, jogged down to the little store, looked at some, Pandora beads, and I was like, yeah, I want that one right there. That's the one that she was going to get. And so she came to me, and said, hey, did you get me my bead? And I said, yeah, I did. And I went down and I looked at the bead, and it was $120, $140, and I was like, oh, I couldn't understand what concept went into the glass.
What made it so expensive?
What made it so expensive, until I actually started doing it. Well, I said, you know what, I think I can make one of those. So I got my garage, and a lot of trial and error, believe me, it was a lot. I bought this little torch, and they had the glass rods already made, which were about a foot long. And you kind of just put it into the torch and melt it out. And then they had this metal mandrels, what they call it, and you kind of just paint the glass over the mandrel, and that's what makes your beads. Well, my beads weren't very straight the very first time. They were pretty wonky. And but it took me about 2 months. At the end of 2 months, it was about the end of December, almost Christmas time. I was really close to going buying that bead. And I finally, something clicked, and I finally got it. And so that was the bead I gave her for Christmas. She still has it today.
That's impressive. Now, give me a history of glass blowing. I've read that it started in 14th century Germany, but you were telling me it actually spans even before that.
It spans way before that. Back in the Phoenicians area, or probably around 57 AD, I believe. You can read about it a little bit. There were some beads that were discovered, that early ago. A lot of the glass blowing really probably didn't take off until it came to Italy. Venice, Italy was probably one of the biggest blowout of glass industry in the 14th century. That kind of actually, Venice had these little glass houses that were, making glass stuff, and cut glass didn't really come about until probably the 16th century. Okay. But back then, in Italy, they moved all the glass blowers from inside Venice out to the island called Murano. And in Murano, Italy, is where a lot of the glass blowing houses were kept, because they were afraid of fires in Venice. So that's where they were kind of kept, or that's what they were told. Based on some of the books I've read, there were like these glass blowers' secrets are so covenant that they didn't want them out in the world. So Italy kind of had that reign around all the glass industry. And so they made really unique glass sculptures and stuff like that, and plate glass and stuff like that, and cups and goblets and all kinds of stuff that were very unique to that situation or that era. And they were so covenant that they kept these glass blowers on the island and wouldn't let them leave, because they were afraid their secrets would get out. And so eventually the Germans and the French came and smuggled these glass blowers out from the island, and kind of developed more techniques beyond what Italy had. And so after about the 15th century, it kind of took a decline as the glass industry kind of blew up in the whole Europe area.
Now, you brought some of your art pieces here.
Yeah.
So how long would you say any given one of these pieces would take you to make? It seems like a project that would have to be done quickly just because of the heat factor.
Well, yes and no. There's some, I do two types of glass, and it's called coefficiency of glass. One is 104 and one is 33. One is basically called soft glass, the other one's called hard glass, kind of like your Pyrex dishes.
Okay.
In the soft glass, you have to go from start to finish. It's very difficult to kind of get a piece keep warm long enough, or a big piece warm long enough to finish it all in one section. So you have to do it all at one time. So like my spiders or the elephant or the little boxfish or the wasps I have, those are all soft glass. And in the soft glass, you pretty much, there's a tube process in making the wings or the legs or so forth. So when I make the piece, usually I anneal it, the body of it, because if the body cracks, you're pretty much done. There's no repair in it. But if like leg cracks or something like that, I can repair that. And in the soft glass, from start to finish, that's how that's done. Well, in the hard glass, like this one or the octopus or the dolphin I have here, or even the turtles, you can actually heat the glass up, put it down, and kind of come back to it, whenever you want. It's not as fragile. It has a little bit more stability in the hardness of it, but it does take quite a bit more heat to heat it up.
Now, if people wanted to get a hold of you, how would they do so? Or if they wanted to collect some or buy some of your artwork, how would they get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me on theflameworker.com is my website, or they can call me. My number is 361-571-4656.
All right. Sir, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time.
All right.
All right, stay with us. We will have some more Community Crossroads right after the break.